Hi, I'm Paul from Science That Sticks, and today I'm at the Hunstanton Sea Life Centre. Let's roll the credit. So I'm in one of the most fascinating exhibits here, which is these ants, and they are the leaf-cutting ant, and there's 4 types. The one that's behind me at the moment, munching on these buddleia leaves, is the major ant. Did you say? Leaf-cutting ant. But they're in 4 types here, correct? So the major ones are the ones doing the lifting and the work, and the cutting, and they'll take it all the way across the vine over to here, and just at the top there, just to guard it, they've got the soldier ants, and then as the material goes into the nest itself, it's passed over to minim ants, which then sort of go to the queen, and the queen's overseeing the whole thing. That's the most fascinating thing that I've seen in a long time. It's really awesome. This is at the Sea Life Centre, Hunstanton. If you get a chance, come on down, it's great. Hunstanton Sea Life Centre has quite a lot of exhibits. Behind me is the spiny lobster. Check it out. There are 2 of them in this tank. Let's see some footage of it. Behind me is basically a diagram that shows how sharks and sun rays are all related, and that they share a common ancestor in the same way that lots of other organisms share common ancestors, like humans with primates and apes and so forth. So this is quite an interesting one to have a look at. So let's see the graphic of it. So in the main tank here we can see some of the rays. Look at them blending in with the camouflage, which is absolutely stunning. A couple of sharks floating and swimming past. Very beautiful, very gracious creatures. Nice. here I'm in front of a tank of fish, and there's a lot of fish in here, as you can see. Fish are remarkable creatures. They, like us, are vertebrates, so we are related to fish, but they don't have lungs like we have lungs. They have gills, and those gills allow water to pass through their mouths and then out through the gills. But in that process of moving from in their mouth to out through their gills, the oxygen that's dissolved in the water passes from the seawater into the fish, and that's how they're able to live and respire. And although they don't breathe out carbon dioxide like we do, they will still use oxygen along with glucose in that mechanism of respiration. It's remarkable how they do this. Remember, they are like us because they have a vertebrate, just like us. They have backbones, but they're not like us because we give birth to live young, we suckle our young, we have hair. They don't. They have scales. They also happen to have fins. They do not give birth to live young, they lay eggs. So pretty cool stuff. Yeah. So another exhibit that I wasn't expecting here is the caimans behind me, a form of crocodile. You can tell they're crocodiles because they're in a while over there. It's often said that fish will grow to the size of the tank. Well, as it happens, that's not true. Some fish are massive, and these pacu behind me are especially massive. And there's a warning above this, and it basically says this: if you're going to buy a fish, really think about how big it's going to grow. If it's going to become massive, like these things are, and you can't get a tank big enough for it, then you need to do something about that. So the best thing to do is do your research before you start buying massive fish, or even small fish, because they might grow massively. And it's not about the tank that they're in. Okay, so do be aware. Look at this. This is rehomed from someone that bought one, it grew too big, and it ended up being here. Fortunately, the Sea Life Centre has capacity to look after it. So do be aware. Fish can become massive, irrespective of where they are put initially.
Fish start their life as nails.
So here we have some clownfish and some anemone, bubble tip anemone. Now the clownfish, the biggest and the most dominant one, will actually turn into a female because they're all born male, which is interesting. But the bubble anemone, or the bubble tip anemone, as Joseph was saying, is very likely to sting and hurt a human being because it's much bigger than those tiny anemone counterparts that we saw earlier. What an exhibit, so nice. So this little fella is called Rubicon, and Rubicon was rescued in June of this year, 2023, after being abandoned by his mummy. So he's been rescued, he's been nursed back to health. Notice that he and all of the seals are really, really well adapted for their survival. They look like torpedoes, they've got flat flippers to help them move themselves through the seas. They've got nice camouflage on the top, stop anything from above being able to spot them whilst they're on the ground, so above them. And also on the bottom, you'll notice that they're very light in colour. They've got sharp teeth, they've got lovely eyes, really lovely eyes, but that's not an adaptation. But the ability to hold their breath and swim like a torpedo is very much one of their things. Hello, buddy. Hope you're well, dude. Black-finned. The giant tank. I'm not in it, but I'm near it. This is unbelievable. Rays, sharks, fake skeleton. It's brilliant. Really peaceful, really beautiful.